He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Just a quick warning, this episode touches on sensitive topics like suicide, so do take care with your listening. And if you need help, you can free call or text 1737 to speak with a trained counsellor.
The red corner,
Daniella Smith is New Zealand's top female boxer.
Ko Daniella Smith o Ngāpuhi, te kai meke wahine tuatahi o Aotearoa.
The champ is here.
And now she's got a shot at becoming the world's best.
What does it mean to dedicate your entire life to a single moment?
No, it's definitely to be a world champion. Why else do you do something? In my opinion, is to be the best at it.
To sacrifice so much for 5 minutes of glory.
Oh my gosh, there's all these TV cameras here. I'm crying. It was quite an emotional experience and it was quite beautiful. It was quite beautiful.
I know all about that 5 minutes of glory because that was me. But I also know what it cost.
It was the most horrible wave that went through my body. My brother's dead. Holy shit.
This is a story about winning. I always knew how to win.
I see it in other fighters, and it's what it takes. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to be selfish.
But I'm not sure that I knew how to be a winner.
People were pointing at me, and some people even came up and started touching me, and I hated it.
So, do you want me to sit here?
I guess. Is this your mic? There we are.
Cool. Kia ora, I'm Daniella Smith. And I'm from a small town in Northland, New Zealand called Kaikohe. This is my story, how I went from being a broke single mum. I'm still broke though. Oh my God, oh my gosh, it's like I went from being broke, I'm still broke. Seriously, who writes this stuff? This is the story of how I became New Zealand's first women's world boxing champion, only to crash back down to earth. It's a crazy journey, but damn, what a cool one.
So we drive down this dark alleyway and we get down there and there's this you can see that there's a light in this doorway, like it's a concrete building. I'm like, wow, okay. And I walk in and I look around and I just go, holy shucks, what the hell is this? Honestly, it's not how I pictured a boxing gym. It was a building underneath a pub, the Maritime pub, hence the name of the gym being called Maritime. There were guys dressed in all these hoodies and big sweaty jackets and skipping and punching bags and, you know, sparring and hitting pads, and there was this little guy in the ring, who little white guy, Paulie Wallbank. He looked like a tennis coach, for crying out loud, but he was a part of this craziness, and he was calling the time and 10 seconds and all that sort of stuff, and I was just like, I was quite blown away. I was like, I'm quite confident in any gym environment, but it was really strange. In this one moment, I actually felt very nervous.
Stepping into the Maritime Gym on Anzac Ave in central Auckland for that very first time, you know, this was the place where I learned to love boxing, where I learned the art, the fight game, where I learned to be tough and resilient, where I learned a lot of life lessons, where I learned boxing. I met my first boxing family, and I just fell in love with the sport. This is me telling my own story, and it's me in the interviews, and it's me talking in between them. So, yep, there's lots of me. You'll also hear from others too, like Mia Motu, Shane Cameron, Monty Beetham, and producer Dane Giroux.
Hi there.
Dane, I'll bring you in.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Dane, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
I discovered boxing in 1997. I was 26. And for me, women's boxing was something totally different. It was also something no one in my family had any knowledge of or skill. So like from day one, I was the best in my family at the sport. Most people would have heard of the name Muhammad Ali, but most would struggle to name a female fighter. Like most sports, women's boxing was treated very differently to the men.
This is a time when a lot of people, the general public, probably wouldn't have even seen a female fight. Was there a sense of novelty or newness?
They would sometimes in statements allude to that fact.
People just wanted to touch my breast protectors. They're like, what are those things? They were these huge, big, they're like these big hats. 2 big hats with all these ropes around them. I'd still walk around in my fight get-up, and people were coming up and going, beep, beep.
Was there prejudice?
I guess there was. You have to remember that I didn't need to listen to them because I had the guts to get in that ring. Did you? The first gym I went into welcomed me with open arms. Other women trained in that gym. I used to get interviewed all the time and people would say, what's it like being a part of this male-dominated sport? And I'd always just say, look, I don't want to take over the sport. It was Dane's idea to make this podcast. He came up north and asked me, no, that's not how it happened. Hey, and Dane, from memory, you phoned me 1,000 times, eh?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And you really tried to knuckle me down for some meetings and things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, and you didn't sound interested, but you didn't tell me to get lost. So I thought, there's a possibility here.
Yeah, and I was just I'm just not into this. And so I gave you some other people's names and I thought, well, at least I'm being helpful.
But I'd met you years ago and I always knew that I was going to tell your story one day.
Oh, okay.
I really did. I did, because it's an important story to tell.
Thank you. I didn't remember meeting you.
I don't believe that.
Oh, you know it.
I don't, but no, don't believe it.
And then we sat down at the Woodlands Motel in Kerikeri.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm late. You're not late. No, I get really anxious about being late. I think that comes from my days of being an athlete. And I'm well and truly not an athlete anymore, but I still get the anxiety. It's really strange.
Honestly, it was down this driveway. It was like a hippie retreat. It was it was a bit freaky.
I liked it because it was so quiet and everything, and I knew that we could just talk, and I did have to kick some underpants under the bed because it was my accom when you came, and I hadn't dealt with them, but that's all right.
That's all right. I'm 52. It's like I have seen underpants before. We've stepped up a notch, eh, Dane, from those times in the hippie commune in Kerikeri. Look at us now. We're in RNZ. You're on the cheap seats.
I feel I'm in the driver's seat.
Oh, is that right? I think we all know who's driving the show.
That's right.
It feels natural to be telling my own story in my own words.
It wasn't always going to be you, though, remember? We threw a few names around.
Yeah, you had me ask my daughter Talia if she would do it. Because she's a boxer.
We thought about Monty Beetham as well. He was your coach. He was a very important part of your journey.
Yeah, Monty would have been really good, but I guess it had to be a woman.
That's right.
That feminine energy needs to come through.
And so we thought of Lucy Lawless, didn't we?
Because we look alike.
Well, you're both warriors.
Yeah, that would have been quite cool. I quite fancied myself as a bit of the warrior princess. And remember in Turkey?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Kaikohe, where I was raised, is a small town, about 4,000 people in Northland, with the population's 30% Māori. And through my dad's side, I whakapapa to Ngāpui and Ngāti Kaununu. That's my connection with Kaikohe.
You know, I was raised down on Taiki Road, and we would meet the neighbours at the middle paddock. And I'd fight Jimmy. My younger brother would fight Percy, and I don't know who my older brother fought. I can't even remember. I don't even think he did. I think he just told us who was fighting who. And yeah, we would fight. It wasn't strange. The day it got strange was when my brothers told me to kiss Jimmy, or Jimmy to kiss me. That's the day it got strange.
Dad is still living in the north, and you'll get to meet him later on in the podcast. My mum. She passed away last year, still looking like a movie star. My Wikipedia page says I was born in Kaikohe. Actually, I was born in Manchester, England. But hey, no one ever researches the facts these days. I have a younger sister, Kara, and 3 brothers, Tao, Alon, and Yardon. Alon. He passed away just before my world title fight. This tore our family apart. Like I say, it's been a real wild ride.
My parents kept us really busy. You know, crazy busy. We played, and that's the thing when you're in a small town, there's not a lot of kids, so you're in the soccer team, the hockey team, the softball team, the basketball team, the netball team. So you're busy, you know.
And without blowing smoke up my butt, I actually achieved quite a lot of success in other sports. I played in the North Harbour under-20s basketball team at the age of 14 and made several New Zealand age group teams. But my dad, George Smith, he tells the story better than me.
I remember going along to the athletic day, and the guy running the shot put, I said to him, "Can you mark out the school record, please?" And he goes, "What for?" "Oh, we're going to break it." And
Meanwhile, may I add, I'm standing there, my dad's saying all of this, I've got these girls going, laughing at me, going, "You're going to break the record." Shame.
And she had a practice put just to see what it's like. And she just went up and bang, out it went.
I broke the record on my practice throw.
Yeah.
Because I remember going, oh, sweet, I can do it. Cool.
A professional sports career was on the cards, or so everyone told me. But yeah, like so many sportswomen, like so many young wahine, life got in the way. And when I say life, I mean babies. I had 2 children by the time I was 22, and I'd gone to live in Sydney where my parents were.
When I left, I thought Kaikohe was and I came from a worldly home, but I thought Kaikohe was, I thought I'd never want to leave this place. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, look what's out there. So I left with my daughter's dad. We were together at the time.
I was there for about a year. The relationship I was in wasn't working, so I decided to return to New Zealand. My parents didn't want me to leave Aussie. Here I was, you know, I was going to be a single mum, 2 children, and she pointed out to me, Daniella, like, Sarah, she kept saying, "Who's going to marry you now?" like you've got 2 children to 2 different fathers. You're just, you know, you're off the list. And I just remember thinking, I don't care. I just want to be in a relationship where I'm happy, or a situation that I'm happy. I understand now. I was still very young, and Mum had my best interests at heart. I, made the decision that I was going to pack up and try living in Auckland.
So how did that go?
Oh, I'm going to say it wasn't easy. Packing up bags and moving with 2 young kids. I mean, Talia was nearly 2 and Jordan was 5. And having to say goodbye to, some sad people at the airport. That's always really tricky. Coming back to New Zealand, and having to set up home. You don't know how to get around. You've got no friends.
And in that point in time, I had quite a low self-esteem. I didn't really know what to do at that time. I just knew how to be a single mum. So my self-esteem wasn't the greatest.
So, I did contact my brother's softball friends, and so they became my friends. And that's how I met probably one of the most important people in my life, my bestie, yeah.
One of the guys was going out with like this girl that was pretty as and had flash as outfits and beautiful fingernails and all this cool jewellery and like wore lipstick, and I just was not that girl. I went round to her place before we were going out nightclubbing once, and she opened up her wardrobe. She goes, "Oh, pick whatever you like." Well, I thought I had a lot of clothes. Honestly, I was looking at her clothes and I was like, I can't wear that. I can't wear that. Oh my gosh, I can't wear that. She ended up being my best friend.
Meet Katrina, Daniella's bestie.
Oh, hello. testing. I've got nervous all of a sudden now.
Katrina Sloane was the one who took me down to the Maritime.
When I asked Trina what she did for sport, she said, I do boxing. I remember going, what?
Because I was kind of feeling like I was pretty awesome too. Because, like a lot of trainers, when Fi would take me on the pads, he'd go, wow, I wouldn't want to meet you in a dark alley. And I thought I was so amazing.
So I remember Trina telling me, oh no, my trainer reckons you wouldn't want to meet me in a dark alley. I was like, what? I was like, I'm from Kaikohe. I'd love to see you down the dark alley.
But I believed it.
But isn't that beautiful? Because I believed all the things they were saying about me too.
Yeah.
And if they didn't say those things, the seed may not have been planted.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd always loved watching boxing on TV and stuff like that. And I think I don't know, where it was just sort of started being that women could do it. I didn't want to get in the ring, but I wanted to learn how to box.
And can I just point out, this was absolutely strange at that point in time. When I say women didn't box, they also didn't do box fit. Women weren't welcomed into gyms. Women weren't encouraged to do box fit. It wasn't the trendy fitness thing we see today. So Trina going to boxing in 1996...
Oh, must have been.
It was, yeah. Was kind of unheard of. Hence me laughing.
Trina and I became so inseparable that my daughter Talia called us BC, short for Titus Bum Cheeks. We were that close, and still are. Not only did Katrina get me into boxing, she was also pivotal to my success. But let's go back to our first time at the Maritime Boxing Gym. Me and Treens going down that dark alley.
Do you remember that day, Treens?
Yeah. I remember going in, and then you went straight up to the speedball and just started banging away on it. I was like, hey! And you should be good. So, I do remember that day.
Sort of walk toward the speedball, politely smiling at people as I go by, and just start banging away on it. See, my brothers had taught me how to do this. We had one in the garage at home. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I've got the attention. They know I'm here. And I know that sounds really cocky, but I guess that's just what the girl I was. And within a couple of minutes, I had a guy wrapping my hands and taking me on pads. I did not realise that was uncommon. That women were welcomed into the Maritime. I didn't realise that was a strange situation to have females training with men. Did not know.
How strange was it? To give you an idea, female boxing was still illegal in New South Wales. The thought of women putting on gloves and hitting each other to some was just totally unacceptable. So, we did what you gotta do. We trained with men.
He took me for a pad session, and he goes, right hand, and boom, throw it. And he goes, you done this before? And I was like, well, not in the ring. And he goes, oh, I've only had, a few fights, up north. I'm like, oh my. Because when people say that to me now, I feel, oh, so I must have sounded so stupid. And it's like left and pop my jab. Goes 1, 2, boom, boom. And I could hear Anaru Harriman, who was the head coach, and he said, you could knock out the coal miner's daughter with that right hand. And it was so funny because I knew who the coal miner's daughter was. At that time, I knew who David Tua was, the coal miner's daughter, and Muhammad Ali.
Some of you are probably thinking, who's the coal miner's daughter? Well, Christy Martin, she was the original champion of our sport. And here's Dane to give you a snapshot of the history of women's boxing.
Female boxing has a long history, dating back to the 1720s, when Elizabeth Wilkinson, known as a European championess, fought Hannah Highfield in London. Forget Queensberry rules. These scraps where anything goes. Kicking, gouging, you name it. MMA, well before it was cool. But it gets better. Elizabeth didn't always fight alone. Sometimes she brought her hubby along for mixed doubles matches. Alas, all good things must come to a prolonged pause. Society deemed these fierce females too unladylike. By 1880, women's boxing was banned, sending it underground. There were the odd exhibition bouts, like at the 1904 Olympic Games, where men were allowed to compete for medals, but the women were just a bit of entertainment on the side. It would take more than a century, 100 years, before women's boxing would be included in the Olympics. That didn't happen until 2012. According to Melissa Smith, who wrote the book, A History of Women's Boxing, pioneers like Barbara Buttrick, Sue Tiger Lily Ryan, and Caroline Svensson kept pushing against the restrictions placed on female fighters through the 50s and into the 1970s. Women's boxing grew in popularity through the 80s and 90s, helped along by big-time promoters like Don King and Bob Arum, getting behind daughters of boxing legends Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. This was heading into the Christy Martin era. In fact, Christy Martin was the first female fighter that Don King signed. But even today, at the time of this recording, the Encyclopedia Britannica website has an entry saying, quote, "It remains to be seen whether women's professional boxing can progress to anything more than a curiosity."
Anyway, back to maritime. So, I'm in the ring doing the pads. They're saying, oh my gosh, you could knock out Christy Martin with that right hand. And looking back now, I probably wasn't that good. I probably wasn't very good at all. However, they made me believe I was. They made me think I was. And that's the important thing. So twice a week originally, I would go with my friend into the maritime gym. And then I decided I wanted to up the training. So I would go 4 to 5 times a week and catch the bus into the gym. And then one day I hopped in the ring and said to one of the guys, "You want to go?" And he was like, "Nah." And I went, "Why, are you scared?" And he's just like, "No." I know, how stupid, eh? Like, are you scared? And the guy's like, "No, I just don't want to hurt you, probably." And I'm like, I laugh now when I think of some of the stupid things I must have said. And anyway, so he jumps in, and I started thinking, oh my gosh, has he seen me hit the pads? I don't think he has. Because if he has, I don't think he'd want to actually be in the ring with me. I truly believe this. I believe my own hype. So I get in the ring with him, and I don't think I landed one punch on him. But once again, the seed was watered. It was such a cool experience. Most sport I played, I was good at. I was not good at this. And I was like, I'm going to get good at this. I'm going to learn how to hit a moving target.
And when my bestie Katrina had her turn at sparring, well, let's just say it was over before it even began.
He was a super heavyweight. I was probably about, I don't know, 60 kgs or something like that. And I go, "Oh, you hit me first." And then I might get angry, and then it's like, "Oh, get out." And that was my that was my career.
I was so convinced, though, when I stepped in the ring, that I'd found something for me. This was challenging, and I loved it. This was a new feeling, and I wanted to see how far I could go in this sport. I was so excited, I remember phoning my dad and telling him about boxing, this new sport I'd discovered.
My reaction? Quite simple, actually. But she rang me up and I said, okay, now if you don't do it, what I don't want to hear from you is, I could have done that, I could have been this, I could have been that, but if you don't do it, you couldn't have done it. That's it, finish. If you do it, you mightn't be any good. You might be the New Zealand champion, you may be a world champion. That's up to you. Those were my words. I still remember myself saying that to you.
Oh, see, I remember you saying, you're going to do it, make sure you win.
No, I didn't say that.
I'm sure that's what you said.
Well, by saying you could be a world champion, that's another way of saying you could win.
What none of us could know back then was the possible price of winning, the cost of my success. Doing well at my new passion would take me to some dark places, as my daughter Talia would later remind me.
The bout was in the spare room. Whenever anyone would talk about it, you'd cry.
But that's all yet to come. Back to 1997.
I guess I just surrounded myself with people that believed in me.
Yeah.
People like my maritime coach, Anaru Harriman. He found me a woman to spar with. And not just any woman, just the best boxer in New Zealand at the time.
Anaru got in contact with Kevin Barry.
Kevin Barry is a huge name in New Zealand boxing. He was a bronze medalist at the 1982 Commonwealth Games and trained heavyweight David Tua to an Olympic bronze. He was also in Tua's corner for his title shot against Lennox Lewis in 2000.
So Kevin Barry invited 3 of us girls from the Maritime to come down to his gym and jump in the ring for a sparring session.
So me and my 2 mates, we went up there, no headgear, no mouth guards. Actually, we didn't even have gloves. Like, Kevin gave us gloves.
I was initially matched up with the founding boxer of New Zealand, one of the best in the country, and the current New Zealand champion, Carolyn Sale.
Did an exceptional jab. Anyway, before that even happened, we walk in the gym and she said, she's just walking around shadow boxing, and we're like, what a dick. We should calm down. Like, be cool. And so Carolyn said to us, look, the guys all have to spar first, so I wouldn't want to peak too early with your warm up. And we're like, peak too early? What a dick. What about her peaking? And we were just being really, really immature. But I guess we were in our 20s, we're allowed to be, It hadn't been role model to us how we should behave. and so we didn't behave appropriately at all.
Eventually we got in the ring.
Anaru said, Cindy, he used to call me Cindy. Cindy, you're going first. You're from Kaikoura, you're tough. I've got no other reason, but yeah, that's it. So he put me in, and I remember standing there going, oh my gosh, this white girl's gonna get a hiding. Start sparring. Boom, she's jabbed in my head. Every time I'm just right hand happy, going in with my right hand, boom, hits me with another jab. She just constantly pops jabs at will on my head. She is clearly dominating me every which way possible. I'm pretty hopeless against her at this stage.
Then we go back out for round 2.
Same sort of thing's happening. She's having target practice on my head. And I'm getting frustrated because this does not happen where I'm from. There's no way these white girls would get the better of us Māori girls. So I just tackle her to the ground. I just go and tackle her and go get my fist up to hit her. And Kevin Barry yells out, Daniella, get off her! Sorry everyone, sorry. And then he calls it around.
I got a bit of a growling from Kevin Barry for that tackle, but I guess I had my reasons.
In my head, I was like, I want her to remember me. I don't want her to remember having target practice on my head. I want her to go, oh shit, I'm a bit worried about that one. She'll tackle me. But I became quite good friends with Carolyn in the end. She actually became my main sparring partner. And needless to say, there was no more tackling.
He might have growled me for tackling Carolyn Sal, but it was Kevin Barry who offered me my first real fight.
That was in 1998, right?
Yep. This would be the first time I would get to compete under the bright lights in front of an audience.
Fight night approaches pretty quickly. Kevin has matched me with Sophie Lee Andrews from Rotorua. I'm phoning him the night before, being the biggest pain in the butt. How much does she weigh? What does she look like? He must have been... He actually told me to go to bed, just being stupid. Turn up to the fight night, weigh in, go see the doctor, everything's fine. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm okay. Go to see the DJ, let him know that I want Kung Fu fighting as my ring entry style. All these really important things.
I'd come a long way in a short time, but the sport still had a long way to go. I mean, they couldn't even get my ring entry music right.
And all of a sudden, shucks, she's in the ring, and then my ring entry song plays. And the song Fuck Your Bitch Up starts playing. The guy goes, you need to get to the ring now, V. And I said, I'm not going out to that song. I said, that's not my ring entry song. And he said, go now or don't fight. And I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, I walk out and I'm like thinking, far out, look at all these people. All these people are here to see me. Wow. You know, forgetting the main event is Sean Sutherland. But no, in my head, they're all here to see me. I was just soaked up that moment. It was like playing ball in front of a stadium. I was like, yeah, the more people, the better. You know, it just felt so good.
So I'm in the ring fighting, right? And Treens, who introduced me to the sport, is sitting ringside, having to watch me compete for the very first time.
Oh, I was very nervous. But once you were in there, it was, you're amazing. Like, the nerves kind of went because I just like, you looked like you were home.
She's a tough girl, man. Seriously. She just attacked me the whole fight and I just fought off my back foot and kept her at long range and just basically fought going backwards. Every time she came near me, I was like, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. And just fought off my back foot to keep her out of my range.
Yeah, I remember you saying to me, Treens, she didn't read the script. She came and attacked me.
There was no
but you
feeling out period. We didn't get into the middle and, you know, pop our jabs and have a feel out moment. She created her own script. She just attacked me.
It didn't throw me, though. I was ready for this moment.
You know, it was the coolest experience of my entire life. I cannot, honestly, looking back on my whole boxing career, that fight was just unbelievable. How I felt. It was so amazing. Evenly matched. We both demonstrated a lot of skill, a lot of fight, put on a great display. Hey, that's what boxing's about. I don't even know whether I would have minded if I hadn't won that. It was nice that I had. But it was a very close fight. It was a very close fight.
Yep, so I got to experience my very first boxing fight. And bonus, I won. It was a win on points. I know I wasn't a knockout boxer. I didn't possess knockout power. And whenever I would drop someone or I had, you know, a fight stopped, it would be from an accumulation of shots or sometimes a positioning of a body shot. I couldn't give a flying toss what the likes of Britannica say. This was way more than a curiosity.
After the fight, we all went out together as a team and partied up hard. And everywhere I went, everyone was like, you're that boxer. And I was just like, yeah. I loved it. I loved the attention I got from it. I loved talking about it. I must have been so annoying to be around. But we stayed up drinking until, like, honestly, I'm sure we were all getting taxis home, like, you know, when it was nearly light.
As bad as I had been at first, and let's get real, I was pretty bad. But, you know, in such a short time, I think it was a year, I really developed as a fighter, developed the mentality a fighter needs, and my ring craft wasn't too bad. So by that fight in 1997, I actually knew a few things, and I just wanted to do it again and again and again. And by that stage, my coach, Anuru Harriman, he had said to me, look, I think you're too good for this. He goes, you could win a New Zealand title. And he goes, I think that'd be something really nice for you and your family. That was the dream. The reality was that making it to the top was going to be a hell of a lot of hustle and grind. And most definitely, belief. Belief was the key ingredient, man. Oh, at times, it was blinking painful. I had a lot of bruises around my forehead, so my face is looking quite distorted. At times, it was so amazing. I would just had tears of happiness. All this and more. And I knew I wasn't supposed to. And I just went, boom, on the top of her head, and I was like, oh no. On the next episode of Uncut, Diamond Daniella.
Thank you for listening to Uncut, Diamond Daniella, hosted by and all about Daniella Smith. I particularly want to thank Radio Wātea, Whakata Māori, Sky TV and Ngā Taonga for sharing audio of Daniella and her fights, which helped bring her journey alive. Thank you. This podcast was written and produced by me, Dane Giroux, with help from RNZ producers Phil Vine and Liz Garton. Tim Watkin is RNZ's executive editor of audio, and Brianna Uritage is the production coordinator. Graphics were designed by Eugenia Nagonaya, and special thanks go to Ben Pierce, Jeremy Ansell, and all RNZ's wonderful audio engineers who helped get this podcast out to you. The editor was Lucas Giroux, with original music by Sam Allen. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it far and wide and recommend it to all your friends. Ka kite.